your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is brand new stuff from Hardline. The name of the album is Life. The name of that song, that rocker, was Handful of Sand. And here is a guy that, if sand were albums, a handful would be about as much as he puts out of product lately. It's the singer of Hardline and about 18 other records that are in my collection. It's Johnny Gioeli. Johnny, how are you, man?
Hey, great, brother. How you doing, man? And you said that so perfectly. As a matter of fact, you said it so well, I got exhausted with all this. I need a nap. Can we pick this up later? No, I'm kidding.
Well, you have to admit, man, you in the last, 6 months or less, really, 3 records, 6 months or 5 months or something like that?
4. I did, let's see, Axl Records solo album. I did a Robert Rodrigo Living for Louder album. I recorded some Crush 40 gaming music. I am busier than a one-legged kickboxer.
I was going to say, man, I look at you in the same spectrum, I guess, as like Jeff Scott Soto, Mike Portnoy. There's a couple of you guys that just wear us reviewer types out with so much content, man.
Yeah, it's not for anything other than, excuse me, the love for music. And when there's an opportunity to create, I take it. I work with a lot of people. I just love making music. And you know what? I'm not getting younger. I always say my one leg is 25 and the other is 25 and a little more. And so I want to do as much as I possibly can, which is sort of the theme behind this new Hardline record, which releases on April 26th, called Life. And thanks for playing that song. That's a cool song. That's actually not a song that I would have picked, but I'm glad you did, man. That's a Handful of Sand. That's a cool one. This album, for me, is like a reflection of. It's not a concept album, although there's a decent concept built within it. Mm-hmm. This album is life. It's like the book of life. It's to get people off of the frickin' hamster wheel, take a minute, slow down and think about their life. And number one, be grateful about it, because every time you wake up bitching and moaning, there's someone that's got it a whole hell of a lot worse than you do.
Sure.
And that's where I'm at in my life in my young 50s. I wake up and go, shoot, man, I can talk, I can walk, I can move, I can sing, I can still sing, I hope, and I can still create. And I was just looking at my discography, and I was actually amazed myself. I scared myself. I've now made over 50 albums worldwide, and it's growing. And I've got registered over 750 plus songs to my collection. And now I understand why I need a teleprompter. I thought I was losing it. I thought the old age was setting in, but it's because I'm full, man. My brain's full.
Are there songs in your collection that if you heard it now, you wouldn't know it was you until?
Yes. Bro, it's so funny that you said that. So I'm getting ready. There's a lot going on, man. So Hardline Life Tour kicks off April 26th. It starts at the Frontiers Fest, and it runs through 2020. That's how many shows. We just released, we released 16, 17 shows already online, and everyone can find us at hardlinerocks.com and Facebook and all this Twitter, teeter-totter, all the social shit, right? So that tour kicks off. Plus, I've got the Axl Rudy Pell anniversary tour. This is 30 years of Axl.
Wow.
I think I've been with him for 25 or so. I don't know. So long. But anyway, we're introducing new songs to this set to fill this anniversary.
Okay. One
One of the songs he wanted to do is called Voodoo Nights. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Well, Voodoo Nights. I'm like, wow, who the hell sang that one? I listened to it, but shit, that sounds like me. So, yeah, bro, I was shocked. I'm like, shit, that's me. Okay, I better relearn this song. There's so much music that I have out there, and I love every single song. I just don't quite remember all of them.
Sure, but you know what? In a way, that's a good thing for 2019, especially because if nothing else, it means that you're incredibly busy in a time when so many musicians are struggling, to put food on their table.
Well, bro, I got to tell you, that's why I am so blessed and grateful, because I know that for a fact. I mean, not everyone besides Jeff Scott Soto is as busy as I am. Right. Jeff's a good buddy of mine, so we always joke. It always seems like I'm like right on his heels. Like, he used to do this disco review show thing, and then I did it. Then he did Axl for a couple albums, and then I did Axl. He goes, dude, what gig are you going to take from me next? So we always laugh about that stuff. But yeah, man, busy is definitely my middle name, and balancing all of life is my challenge.
Sure.
I think I do it okay, but I always felt bad about using these teleprompters on stage, and I got to tell you a quick story.
All right.
When Hardline released its epic classic debut album, Double Eclipse, which still lives in the hearts of so many.
Sure.
I remember we did a show where Sammy Hagar came out, and we used to cover a song called Top of the Rock. Top of the Rock. I don't know how many people. It was off of HSAS album. Yeah. Right. So I said, Sammy, I'll take verse 1, and then you walk out, and then you take verse 2. And this is where the whole teleprompter thing comes in. All of a sudden, the crowd starts going crazy. I'm like, what? What did I do? I didn't do anything. Sammy came out too soon, too early, and then doesn't know one damn lyric of his own song. Nothing. He's like, take it, Johnny. I'm like, take it, Johnny? What the hell? What, are you going to dance? Anyway, so, yeah, we got a lot of stuff in our brains, that's for sure.
No question, man. Well, the thing you've got in your brain right now has to be this Hardline record, Life. It is so good. And for people that are fans of Hardline, I would say this is people obviously are going to have their decisions if they like it, they hate it. I personally love it.
Thank you.
I will say this is one of those records that is not going to feel immediately comfortable to everybody that's a fan, because there's pieces of it that sound very much like the Double Eclipse.
Right.
And there's pieces of it that sound almost like an extension of human nature. It's more roller coastery, I guess, if that's a phrase, than anything that you've done, I think, at least with Hardline.
I think that's fair, man. I think that's a very, very fair statement, and it's true. And because the elements that I wanted in this record, songs like let me start with This Love. Look, it's a ballad. It's a love song.
Sure.
This album, we're not reinventing the wheel here. It's Hardline. We want to do what we do best. Songs like, I'm a sucker for a ballad, man. I love a good, powerful ballad. Sure. My Friend, people are going to hear that. It's an acoustic piece. And, My Friend is really about all the people who support this music. Every person that comes to a show, that pays for a ticket. I respect those people so much, because without them, I'm nothing. I'm just this voice hanging out there, right? So My Friend is about all those people who are my friend. They're all my friend. So there are elements that people may not quite understand, but again, the album's called Life, and it's a point in my life where I've gotten off the hamster wheel, sort of,
sure,
to at least recognize that, where am I? Where do I want to be? And what sort of legacy or no legacy do I want to leave? If that last page were to turn and it's the end of the book, what do I want people to say about me? And what do I want to leave musically for people? So that's why you put it so perfectly. It is sort of this bit of a roller coaster ride through musical creativity.
Sure. Now I'm going to make an assumption, and please tell me that I'm wrong if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I get the feeling that more than on, especially Human Nature, but the last few records, the writing might have been geared more to be performed live this time, because these songs just sound very much like I have a feeling that they're going to sound like they sound almost on the record. because they have a little bit more of a raw live sound to them.
That's true. And so what we've recognized now with the addition of our new drummer, Marco De Salvia brings a whole new level of extreme live playing.
Okay.
Like if it was a sport, it'd be a category. It's like extreme drums.
Sure.
And we've recognized that we can do a lot and be very powerful on stage if we're playing the song is geared towards that. So we love performing live, and it was important that we knew whatever went on that record, that it could translate in a big or even bigger way live. So yeah, and look, I'm stuck like so many actors are stuck with their stigmatism of the character that they once were. Like I just did this event with Butch Patrick, who was the little in the Munsters. He was Eddie Munster, right? The guy's 65 years old, but he's always Eddie Munster. And hey, there's Eddie Munster, right? I've got the same problem with Double Eclipse, but it's not the problem. It's a blessing, believe me. But Double Eclipse, everyone will naturally gravitate towards making a comparison between that record and whatever I'm doing.
Sure.
You know what? It's a different time. It's a different time and place. But what we've done differently, bro, on this album is it is very, very real. We wrote it together. We recorded it together. We didn't use all this fancy schmancy auto-tune this, tune up that, tune that down, cut and paste.
Right.
And I think that's what you're hearing, man. And that's a cool thing for me because for me now it's about capturing a time and place.
Sure.
It's not about making this beautiful, polished portrait selfie where I'm going to touch up and I'm going to glamour shot it and I'm going to sugarcoat it and I'm going to add fairy dust on it.
Right.
It's about a time and place. Let's capture it and let's bring it to the people. And so that's what we did here.
Very good, man. Well, considering that you do have a couple of new players since last time on this record, was that a different dynamic to write with? Because you said that you all wrote together. Was it different than Human Nature or On Back?
Yeah, honestly, absolutely 1,000,000%. It brought new life to the band. Look, I can only speak honestly to you. Sure. It was getting a little stale for me. Okay. And I wanted more. I know there's more out of this band. And so to these guys, Mario Procordani, incredible writer, right. And Marco, as I mentioned, extreme drummer, and it just brought us to a different level. Sure. So why not capitalize on their talent and bring them into the writing, and that's why it sounds the way it does. I'm really excited, man, for the next record, which we're already planning. We know where we're going to write it on an island in Greece.
Right.
We already have it planned, bro. And we're going to work and eat and enjoy making the next record together. I mean, we already have our plans. So
and of course, knowing you, that'll be out in July after 6 more records, right?
No, I swear to you, I swear to you, I haven't even walked into my recording studio. We're literally going to tour for until the end of 2020 with this album, Hardline Life, before we even think about doing the next album.
Excellent. Well, Johnny, I want to go back in time about 2 months. Way back about 2 months in time.
God, I hope I can remember.
Because I am probably the biggest fan of One Voice of anybody. I think it is the best thing that you have done in at least a decade, and not necessarily because you sound better or sound worse or on whatever. I think that the songwriting on that one was so intensely personal, and it came off perfectly from you. I tell people all the time about that record, and like most people, they're like, "Oh, didn't know that was out there," which is an absolute crime that it came between an Axl record and now the Hardline record.
Well, let me just start by saying that if I could jump through the Skype machine and give you a big sloppy kiss, because it's 2019, we can do that. I would do it, bro. So thank you for saying that. That was and is a very personal record. I wrote every bit of that with Eric Gadrix, who's a phenomenal, talented guitar player. We wrote that whole thing together, every word, every note, and it is very personal to me. It's different, but it's what I wanted to do, and the cause. You know, as you know, I made that record for a charity for a young man who became paralyzed, and we had talked about that before. And as a charitable record, my way of giving back. And yeah, you know, it's interesting. I love the music business, but I don't always love the business of music.
Right.
And that album was like, okay, let's do a solo record for Johnny off of Frontiers. And again, very grateful to do it. And then brought in fans to help raise money for this young man, which was very awesome.
Sure.
But they just didn't put enough effort, as you very, very perfectly said. They just didn't put enough effort into, like, this is a great freaking record, man. One Voice. It's a great record.
It really is. And I guess in hindsight, I have to imagine, and this is a weird one because as a musician, musicians never like this, but I have to imagine this is one time that you wouldn't have minded if the label would have sat on it for 6 or 8 months just to give it some space and maybe release it, you know, October time frame, you know, through for like more like the holiday season. No, yes.
I agree, 1,000,000%. I would have waited for the proper timing, but you know, my balls were broken, and you know, there's, you know, the business of music now it's a little bit more of a factory.
Sure.
I hate that.
Right.
And things are on schedule, and it's crazy, man. But it is the way it is. Things, you know, they need now. Albums must be made, you know, 4 to 6 months in advance of releasing them to prepare this, that, and the other. It's really a nightmare the way that works. But yes, I would have done that, man. I would have sat on it, and thank you for saying that. I love that record. I still listen to it. I run to it. I don't, you know, it could have its own, you know, resurgence again.
Sure.
It just takes the right thing. You know, it's so funny. I listened to the song Drive, which is the first song on the album. I mean, how perfect is that for a car commercial? I laugh my ass off every time I hear that. Come on, let's drive.
Right.
You know, we're so busy, you know, doing all this crazy shit. Why can't we let's just go for a drive, man? I think about that song all the time. But anyway, yeah, great album. I love it. Wish it would. I mean, it did very well. Don't get me wrong. Wish it could continue.
Sure. Well, and it could continue. I'll say this, because you're not. I'm going to throw some names out, and I'm not shitting on these guys at all. I'm just going to throw their names out, like guys like a Kip Winger, as an example. He's a little too well known to have something new taken seriously by a record label as anything but classic rock.
That's interesting.
Where you're Johnny Gioeli is not such a name, you know, big name in the industry, where a program director would be like, oh no, that's from the 80s. We're not going to touch that. I would imagine most program directors, and I've been in radio forever and a day, would not know your history, wouldn't know Hardline, you know, and I honestly believe that at least the first 5 songs on that record could be hits at active rock radio if it was presented that way. And in my head, I just imagine that you're very frustrated that an audience that would absolutely gravitate to these songs if they heard them don't get that opportunity.
I have 2 statements. Number 1, where do I send the check? Number 2, you're hired. Let's go, bro. That was awesome. I couldn't have said that any better. And you're right. You're right. It's I'm proud of my career. I've got a good name. Could I be out there even more? Absolutely. And does that create opportunity for me? Absolutely. You're right. So it's kind of this a little bit of a musical business struggle.
Sure.
For me, because I want this stuff to the masses, but getting it there is not, it's not an easy task, man. It's not the way it used to be.
No, it's definitely not. It's you know, I get asked all the time. I've been in the business, but not on your end, because I am a very much a failed musician. But I've been in the business now for over 20 years, and I get asked all the time by people, you know, what would you do if you were getting into the business and this and that? And my answer is always don't. You know, just because it's, if you are not one of the rare breeds like you are that has the connections, the sound, and, you know, the ability to just kind of drop your life on a dime to do some of these things,
Yeah,
you're going to fail. And you have to be so busy these days. You guys, you know, I know we're joking around about you and Jeff and Mike Portnoy and whatnot being so busy. Truth of the matter is, what else are you going to do? You're either going to go paint houses for 9 months a year and then record, or you're going to do this project to that project to that project.
yeah, and yeah, I will tell you, you're dead on, man. And for that reason, I'm so grateful, man, to be able to continue to do it. And I do owe that resurgence to Frontiers Music and to Serafino, the owner, because I didn't want it after Double Eclipse, man, and that whole thing just sort of fizzled into the 90s, you know, grunge scene. I needed therapy, bro. I mean, that was brutal on all of us.
Sure.
And I needed time, and it was he who really struck the fire under my ass and said, "Come on, your voice, you need to sing. People need to hear you." So it's really true that he was the one responsible for getting me back out there on the radar. And then from there, I realized, wow, people do care about this music. People do love it. People are loyal. People are awesome. The fans are there. I just have to stay out there.
Right.
And bro, I work hard. If you see my calendar, I'm an old school guy. I still write in my calendar. I don't use the online Google calendar and this. Right. I got to see this shit. You know, I got to look at it. So, oh, sorry. Can I say shit?
Yeah, you can.
That's okay, thanks. So I need to see this shit on paper. And it's mind-blowing when I have to order now the 2021 calendar. That's just weird for me. And, you know, I have albums planned into 2022. Is that sick? I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to have for breakfast tomorrow. Maybe an egg, but I don't know. But let alone 2022. Right. So it's a cool thing, man. And I'm just going to keep it going until someone tells me to stop. When you tell me to stop, bro, I'll stop. Okay.
No, I'm not telling you to stop. Nothing makes me happier, you know, than when I see an Axl record or a Hardline record, you know, and I mean, more than Hardline and even more than the solo record, we play the shit out of the Axl records on the show because,
awesome.
And it's crazy, you know. It's that crazy thing of every time we play it, our fans are like, "Man, that fucking kicks ass. What is that?" And then we tell them, it's like, "Oh yeah, you know," and it's like, "Oh, that's like an old friend that they've misplaced or whatever, lost touch with."
Exactly, bro. We just got back from Russia. We did the equivalent to the Grammys. We performed at what's called the Bravo Awards in Moscow.
Okay.
We literally went through the same entrance that Putin goes to work. I mean, it was mind-blowing for me. What an experience. Very cool. We did this award show, and then the next day in Moscow we did a show. What happened and what I expected were just two totally different things. First time there, complete sellout, mayhem, literally security pulling people out of our limos because for autographs, we're literally pushing them out with our feet. It was the most mind-blowing, and we're heading back to the hotel, and we're like, what the hell is going on?
Right.
This is insane. So to know that these fans exist everywhere is so lifting and refreshing and motivating for me to keep going. Absolutely. Why not? And I'm going to tell you another thing, man. I always say this, but my son just woke up. It's about time there, sonny boy. Yeah, I still got to be dad too, bro. It must be cool to be, 15 years old and sleep till 1:30 in the afternoon.
Wouldn't that be
Good morning, Brandon. Have an egg and then clean your room. All right. Anyway, so I had to put his balls on the air. Where the hell was I? So I completely lost my train of thought.
You're talking about how Russia was and how amazing that there's still people.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that gives me the energy and the motivation to keep going. And where I was going with that is I want the people to decide when I should stop. And, right now, man, I've got the energy of 17 horses and my voice, thank you, Lord, is in great shape. I'm knocking on wood.
Right.
And there's guys out there that, probably should stop. And it's okay. It's okay. They had their epic time period. But for me, I'm not done yet, bro. I still have more voice in me. I have more creativity. I've got a lot of freaking energy, as you can hear in this interview. I'm going a million miles an hour. I'm going to keep producing until you guys tell me to stop. And that's it.
And the unique thing about you is not only would it be us old guys, but you have that young generation too with the Crush 40. That you have the one of the most interesting careers. You're a guy that should have a book written, because you have really kind of weaved through different audiences and different time periods more than just about anybody else.
Thank you, bro. And as a matter of fact, I am working on a book. It's odd that you say that. It may take me the next 20 years of my life to finish, but it's about just that. This musical experience, my career starting at 11 years old, what I've seen, what I've learned, what I've witnessed in not only in the business but just the creative part of how I change how music, not me, how music can change someone's life, how it can bring them new life, how it can cure them, how it's therapy, how it's, that's a book, man, really. And I didn't realize that until I was doing an event with Crush 40. And, there's a lot of gamers, there's a lot of children out there that are autistic, some on the spectrum, and they feel safe in a gaming environment.
Right.
I didn't really understand. It wasn't until just a few years ago that I truly understood the impact that a song had on, especially a kid who has some autism or they're on the spectrum and living in that safe world, and how that song was part of their life, is part of their life, part of their memory, and it was a good part of their life. So, yeah, man, there's a book there. I've done so much stuff musically, and now I'm to the point, back in the day when we were listening to our 80s stuff, we were going to Scorpion shows and Van Halen shows, it was sort of, what I would say, it wasn't kosher to be in multiple projects. This guy's a band hopper. He's doing this and the other. I think that's so ridiculous. I want to work with as many creative people as I possibly can before my time is up. That's the way I look at it. And that's why I put out a lot of music. You can buy it all, but I'm just putting it out there because I love making it.
Exactly. Well, dude, the new record, speaking of stuff, new music that's out there or will be out there, the new album is called Life. It's Hardline. Johnny, why don't you pick a song from the record to close this out with and maybe tell people a quick story about it?
Sure, man. Well, let me take you. I'm going to take it down a little bit. I'm going to take it down. Let's slow it down. Let's play Page of Your Life, which just sort of sums the entire album feel. And in the video, it's a little bit creepy. I see my own grave. I see my own end. And this song just tells the story of, where are you in your life? Are you fulfilled? Are you not? Wherever you are, make a change or don't. But take a minute and think about your life. So Page of Your Life, cool song. We all wrote it together, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
All right, well, let's check it out right now. It is brand new Hardline right here on your Classic Metal Show.